Good evening and welcome to the August 23rd, 2021 Kingston City Land Bank Public Board Meeting. My name is Mike Gilliard. I'm the Executive Director of the organization. We ask for members of the public to limit their comments to 2 minutes per speaker. And thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Real quick, am I also supposed to call to order? I'll call to order. It is 6:33, Monday, August 23rd. Can we vote to adopt prior meeting minutes first? Bartek, I noticed Omari is listed as both absent and present, but otherwise,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have one revision, just that when you talked about women's business enterprise, it's confusing in my report out. I think you said women's enterprise. I could find it, but it should say women's business enterprise for the architect that we hired, because that's what she's certified as. That's my only comment.
okay. Someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to adopt last month's minutes with the added changes that Omari and Bob gave.
Bob seconds. All in favor of adopting July's meeting minutes? Oppose?
Aye.
Abstain? All motion passes. Thank you. Okay, exciting month once again. Lots of kind of things in the air. Our first 3 renovations of the pilot are wrapping up. As predicted, 64 Van Buren is, we have a final punch list walkthrough tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You're more than welcome to join if you'd like to. 248 Main appears to be next up and is coming together pretty well. And 174 Hasbrook is bringing up the rear quickly because the Kingston Design Connection is due to start in just a few days. So big rush. I did want to mention we received our first, I think, free, donated material from Benjamin Moore, who donated all of the paint for the exterior of 174 House. So that's kind of cool. And that's because of the Kingston Design Connection.
Nice.
We are looking at probably 2 acquisitions between now and our next board meeting. So those would be 29 Rogers and 108 110 Henry. 29 Rogers, we had kind of put on a back burner when we communicated to the city which ones we were going to be buying because of potential environmental concerns, but on further review, everything seems okay. And it's a good house. We might as well buy it. And 108 110 Henry was that's the one property that was donated essentially to the city as a pass-through entity to go through the land bank eventually by the mortgage company. So we will be acquiring it for $1, which is very exciting. It's a really, really large property, and the plan is to put out an RFP, which Owen has already put a bunch of work into drafting. We do not want to hold it for very long, but Mike got 2 appraisals done, I believe, so we can kind of settle on a fair market value, and we'll be putting that out to RFP. Mike and I continue to meet with Kevin Corti, the new director of housing initiatives, about both trying to kind of clean up some of the properties that are still on the list of 36 and sort of up for debate, as well as kind of things that have been foreclosed since 2018. So we're kind of working up a game plan for those, so stay tuned. our wonderful board member Aneshka has been working on putting together some history on these houses, which was actually part of our grant agreement with Novo. So she went to the office and very detail oriented, took pictures of everything that we pulled out of the house, pictures and documents. And we'll continue and put together some interesting factoids for us, and that'll be fun. We are so the properties that we purchased a couple months ago all have maintenance going on, lawns are getting mowed, all of that stuff. 63 German was a particularly overgrown lot, so our friends at Earth Designs Cooperative were there on Friday doing a big clean sweep of the yard and everything, all the overgrowth. And so it's looking much better. And the next step is doing the interior clean out, which we'll be voting on a little bit later. And then on the pre-development front, we're kind of rocking and rolling on Franklin and Greenkill. So preliminary plans have been drafted by the architects at KDA. We had a committee meeting to look through them, edit them, change stuff. And so we have our next meeting on Friday where we'll have updated plans. Specs are coming into focus and we should be ready to put out the RFP for the contractor proposals. I think in the next couple of weeks, 1 week, great, 2 weeks, I don't know. September, which is about a week. And I think that's it. Does that sound right? So with that,
Sorry, Daniel.
sorry.
I had a question about the RFPs for those 2 new properties you discussed.
Yeah.
On Rogers and was it Henry?
Yeah.
So what would those RFPs entail? What are
That's
we looking? Okay.
so Rogers, we're not necessarily doing an RFP. We might hold that into a rehab next year. We're not really sure. 108, 110 Henry, Mike or Owen can probably speak to with more detail, which maybe it makes sense to just pass the baton to Mike. Sorry, I guess Karen's the call-in, so we don't have any members of the public, so we can skip that. Mike, would you like to speak to that?
I would love to. If I could ask one request though, as part of your section, there's a vote on the compensation committee charter. There was
Oh
a
my God.
board package.
I have it right in front of me. Yes, so last time we created a compensation committee to deal with compensation, and our lawyer Brian drafted a charter for us. It looks good to me. It's included in the board package. So if we could vote on adopting that real fast, that would be great.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
I think that was a motion from.
That was a motion. I need a second.
I'll make a second. I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of adopting the compensation committee charter?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Now, Mike.
Thank you. Before I jump in, I did just want to highlight that, Karen, I believe you have to leave in 8 minutes. So would you prefer to cover the finance section of the meeting before you go, or would you like to handle that?
Well, I definitely don't want Omari's question to get lost in the shuffle.
Of course.
But I also, I really do apologize to everyone for this jumping around. But yeah, if I could, just so that there's a couple minutes for questions if anyone has anything.
Yeah, Karen, we'll come back to that, but I think let's get this before you have to go.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it greatly. So on first I'll zip pretty quickly through the financial report for July and then turn to the budget. There wasn't actually a whole lot that's I think that really stands out. You can see that we did get some income. I believe this is from the enterprise grant. And then in terms of, so that was 242,000. And then in terms of expenses, the Madeira group had some pretty large expenses that came to about 52,000. So our total income along with some other expenses, it was about 158,000. I'm just rounding. And I don't think we have anything else that really stands out. Does anyone have any questions on that? We did get some individual donations for $290 in total, which is very exciting. Neshka has been great about sending out thank you notes for now until we get everything set up. Does anyone have any questions on the financial report, or Mike or Erica, do you see anything that I should add in or should be added in? Everyone should be aware of?
This is Mike. Just so you know, Karen, Erica is not on yet, but I do not have any
Oh,
to add.
sorry, I can't see. Okay, great. Anyone have any questions? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So moving on to the budget, if everyone had a chance to look at it in the board packet, it's been broken out pretty nicely, and I think it's a really nicely displayed and very straightforward. Thank you, Mike and Erica, for making something that's I think very user friendly in terms of board members being able to see and understand where the anticipated expenses are, along with the anticipated revenue to balance it all out. So you can see in the first section, there are the office expenses where there's really not very much change. You can see the 2021 approved budget, which includes known revenue at the time in the first column, and then 2022 proposed in the second column, and the third column is the percent change going either up in terms of positive or increase rather, or down. And so under office expenses, there's very little change from what was approved last year. I think increases are in things like dues and association fees, which is part of the land bank trying to sort of be more engaged in other community and professional associations. And then just potentially if there's any need for the land bank to rent new office space, there's a little bit of put in there to buffer. For the next section, personal services, as you can see, there is an increase in the consultants line. We'll be hiring several more positions than had been hired at this time last year. And we did talk about that figure, the 400,000 figure, in the last executive session. The details on the individual consultant compensation are still to be finalized, but we know that we have that 400,000 as our total bucket for that. Other increases, we are hoping next year in 2022 to engage with more volunteers as a way of engaging the public in land bank work, which I think is always a wonderful thing to do. Certainly people have been asking, so that would be great. So that's really where those two things are accounting for the increase of about 23% in that section over this current year for next year. Are there any questions so far on office expenses and personal services?
I see no questions, Karen.
Fantastic. Next is property maintenance. This has the most significant increase percentage-wise, and that's really from what was discussed at the last finance and audit committee meeting, is really just based on lessons learned. So there is an increase, as you can see, in all of the property maintenance, and also in part because more properties are now currently under the ownership of the land bank. So that accounts for that increase from 66,500 to 125. Obviously, it's wonderful if we have any savings there, but want it to be on the safe side. And then in terms of development or how the properties will be managed and or improved, you can see there's actually a pretty substantial reduction from last year. This is in large part because the houses, I keep saying last year, I mean 2021, sorry about that. But this is really in large part because for 2021, the 5 pilot homes, as you know, were complete remodels, and it's anticipated that more of the properties that are owned and going to be disposed of in 2022 will not necessarily go through that full rehab. They'll follow more of them will follow the other pathways. So far lower amount proposed for those developments. And if it does become apparent that full rehab will be needed or additional rehabs, then we would just be looking for new grant funds on that. So that does go down significantly by 60%. So are there any questions on that, on the development costs end?
I'm seeing no questions.
Wow, okay. And then as you can see at the very bottom, so that means our total, at the very bottom, you can see sort of 3 sections of anticipated revenue. The proceeds from the pilot program, hoping for about 300,000, and the sale of the 110 Henry Street of 150,000. Daniel talked about that property just a little bit ago. And then the Novo operating grant that Mike submitted earlier, should have been submitted earlier this month, I believe. So between those 3 main areas, this doesn't include things like donations that we hope will come in as more of the public gets engaged, or any other grants that are definitely being considered or may pop up. But this would sort of be our base known revenue at this point in time. So any questions on that? That kind of brings us, into having a balanced budget for 2022. Any questions there on anything?
I'm not seeing any. Mike, is there anything you want to clarify about any of it?
Not at this time. I had included a summary of where I thought some of the high points were in the difference year over year. It's really exciting to have revenue secured and move in that direction, but nothing else.
Okay.
I don't know if, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
No, I was just saying thank you. Do we want to vote? Does anybody have questions, comments, statements, big ideas, donations, perhaps?
Well, I'm just wondering about 110 Henry. I think that'll answer my question. If you could speak to that,
Yeah, Mike, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And thank you for your patience, Omar. The plan.
Sorry, can I interject here? I'm so sorry. Having presented the budget, I do have to leave. So I'm going to say goodbye and sign off and hope that, can I register my vote for it now, or just leave it, and I just won't vote on this piece.
I will send you a confirmation of if you can or not over email after the meeting, Karen.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, everyone. I'm so sorry to not be participating in the meeting and seeing all of your faces.
You're good.
Thanks, Carmen.
Have a great evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
Catherine.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, Omari, thank you so much for your patience on the question around what the plan could be for Henry with the RFP. Owen is the architect of it, so I won't speak for him, but I think in essence, what we're doing is offering the property to the public at large with a request to submit proposals that either meet aspects of our mission, the entirety of our mission, or in some way serve as a community good. So the buckets that would fall under our pathways are either a pathway 3 or a pathway 4 type of submission. So we'd be asking folks to submit a price and to show evidence of funds to complete what they're proposing, and then we would analyze it as a board accordingly.
Okay, so we're anticipating kind of a base price of 150.
That is the assumption, yes. And I think it's a conservative assumption based on appraisals.
Okay, great, thanks.
With that, would we like to vote on the budget? I need a motion and a second.
I'll motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of approving the 2022 operating budget? Aye.
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 Oppose, abstain, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, back on track. I think it'll make the most sense to do acquisition and disposition last in the committee so that we can go right into executive session. So, and Karen is chair of fundraising too, right? So fundraising committee, quick update. We have purchased the gift gabs subscription. Karen and Erica are working on getting that set up. I think that's basically the update. We, like Karen said, we got a few donations, and we have a meeting scheduled, I think, for first week of September. Mike, do you remember? Yeah, so kind of a overall brainstorming session, which certainly let me know if you want to attend. We have to cap it at 4 board members for quorum purposes, but I think there's space. We'll let you know. Okay. I think that covers it.
Sorry, just a question about quorum in those committee meetings. Is it true that if you're not voting, if you're a board member who's not voting, that you can attend?
It is my understanding, at least, that any gathering of a majority of the board constitutes a quorum and must be publicly announced and advertised 3 days prior to the meeting. I think, yeah, it doesn't matter if we're voting or not, I believe.
That's right, Daniel. Yeah, your attendance goes towards quorum, counts towards quorum. And if quorum exists, then thou shalt hold public meetings. Okay.
I'm going to learn those Robert's rules. I'm going to really apply myself. Okay. Bartek, would you like to tell us about communications?
The communications committee did not meet this month, so I do not have anything to report. I will say that on our agenda for September is to create a survey of all of the submissions during our first marketing phase. So stay tuned for that, but otherwise I don't have anything to report.
Do you guys know, just out of curiosity, how you're conducting that survey?
I don't think we've finalized that yet.
Let me know if I can help.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably lean towards, a solution via Google, but we haven't finalized the exact platform yet.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. That concludes. Aneshka, do you have a governance committee report? I didn't really do anything. You're muted.
We did not meet either. Or either, however you say that. We are going to be meeting again, I believe, in October. Not mistaken. Because we meet quarterly rather than.
Mhm. I'll remind everyone again, and I'll keep reminding everyone, but if you are coming up at the end of your 3rd year and you're coming into a 4th year, you have to redo your ABO training. Fun. And I think that has to be done by the end of the year.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So be in your bonnet. Okay. God, we're going fast. Bob, take it away.
Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, you didn't really give your.
No, it wasn't for me. I thought you were jumping into executive session, which we're not. So I made a mistake.
No, we'll do a public thing and then an executive session thing.
I believe there is a member of the public on the call.
Oh, yes, that's Reagan Ward from Peoria, Illinois, who is interested in starting a land bank and has joined us. Reagan, you can feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I didn't know I'd be introducing myself. Do I need to jump off then, or?
We'll tell you when you gotta
Okay.
go. Yeah,
Okay. I'm just listening and learning, so don't mind me.
thank you for joining us. Okay, fun.
Okay, it's only a little frightening that we're the model for someone. That's a little scary. We did 2 things in acquisition and disposition this month. The first one is a public one that we'll talk about, is to award a contract for the clean out of 63 German Street. And we received 3 bids, and the lowest response, thank you, Owen, and the lowest responsible bidder, which was complete, is Valfiente, I'm going to say it wrong, Valfiente Painting and Drywall for $5,500. The other bids were higher. We've done work with this contractor before successfully, so it's our recommendation from the A&D committee that we accept the bid and award the contract. And I'd be looking for, I guess you're looking for a resolution to do so and a vote following that. So if someone wants to, I can make a motion, I guess. I'll make a motion that we award the contract for the clean out of 63 German Street to Villafiente Painting and Drywall for the amount of $5,500. So I suppose a second would be in order.
I'll second.
All in favor?
And Daniel, it's up to you. Should we vote?
I think we could vote. All in favor of awarding the contract for the interview
Aye.
out of 63 German? Aye. Oppose, abstain. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
That's
Right.
and that's a nasty job.
It's a
Good for him.
really bad one, yeah. That house is,
I live right down the street from that house. That is a nasty house to clean up.
but it's gonna be a beautiful house. Okay. What's next, Bob?
Well, we're going to go executive session now. As we asked, one of the things that the A&D committee did last month or this month was to select buyers for our first 3 houses. So I think we go into executive session to talk about that in a little more detail and make appropriate motions in the executive session. So Mike?
So, Bob, you got that right. We have to vote to go into executive session. Reagan, that's when we gotta kick you out. You're welcome to join after, but I think that's pretty much our meeting. Bye. So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss awarding contracts to homeowners for our first 3 private homes.
I motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor of going into executive session? Oppose, abstain, motion passes. Now we will. Oh, Jessica, you're there. I got it. We're back from executive session. Thank you, everybody. So I would like to call, I need a motion for a vote to award purchase contracts for 64 Van Buren, 248 Main, and 174 Hasbrook to the applicants recommended by the Acquisition and Disposition Committee and discussed during executive session.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor of approving said applicants for these homes?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Yay, we tell people that.
Woohoo!
So exciting. Cool. Well, that's a fun way to end the meeting. No members of the public. Do we have any new business to announce?
Can I ask a quick question? Not to prolong, but I know that Karen and Aneshka are leaving the board at some point. I just have people who are like, I thought might be good. And I don't know, is there a process for like recommending people or what's the timeline for new board members?
So if memory serves, we're gonna put out a call in October.
Okay.
Sealed applications, I think for a month. We'll review in November. We will make our recommendations to Steve in December. He will appoint them late December for January. Aneshka, does that sound right?
Sounds good. I prefer to start in September because we need to give a little room in there for board approvals, et cetera, if we need it.
Well, the board doesn't have to approve anything unless we change the
That's
bylaw.
true. That's true. That's true. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people get instated in the annual meeting in January.
Okay.
Which is also where we need to talk about the officers. So we probably should have some sort of a process that we all agree upon in the next month or so for both of those things, just as we go forward to make sure that things go smoothly. So I would suggest that we start that conversation in September. I like Anishka's September, but October would do. More time never hurts. More time, it's nice not to be up against the deadline, Daniel. We're trying to work with you on this.
That's why I like September.
Yeah,
We should at least have a conversation as the governance committee in September sometime, even if it's sort of an, quick email exchange.
Yeah, we should revisit the application too. I barely remember what it was. I think it was mostly a narrative, but yeah, it's a good idea, I think, to try to aim for at least a month, but I think 2 months would be nice. Yeah, cool. Anything else?
Will you entertain a motion to adjourn?
Fine. Sure. Whatever you
So
want.
moved.
Yes, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor of adjourning August 2021's board meeting?
I,
Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, you guys. Good to see you. If you want to walk through these houses anytime, 64 Van Buren's like done. It's really nice. Looks good.
Is there, how do we do that? Do we schedule or how do we like, I would love to walk through.
Yeah,
Me
so the
too.
walkthrough is, well, so Owen and I are doing a punch list walkthrough tomorrow at 9 a.m. More than welcome to join. Otherwise, let me know, let Mike know, let Owen know.
On Van Buren?
Mhm.
I mean, it's like down the street, so.
I can come tomorrow.
You want to come?
Yeah.
I
Can I
also
come
mentioned it
too?
to Owen this morning at our 9 a.m. meeting, so he said he'll make a list of dates and times and share them. So I was really excited to be able to finally see what you guys have all worked so hard on.
It'd be great.
Yeah, it's good.
So if I get the text message, I'll send him the reminder to send it out to everybody when I get the text message.
But I also live a couple blocks away. It's super easy for me to jet over, so anytime.
All right, well, I'll try to be there at 9, so.
Cool.
Me too.
Okay. Now we're really adjourning. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Night.
Thank
Bye.
you.